Can you hear me now? I hate it when I'm always on mute on accident. It's really annoying. I need to run the game audio through my headset. Audio preview. And I need to run it through all audio previews through the Yeti microphone. Oh, stupid. I don't think any of the viewpoint stuff affects where you're turning. It just feels like it because we're always moving in the same direction we want to look. I'm trying to test it right now. I'm lining up on the tank down here. I hold forward. I go right. And I'm still lined up, and I go left. Still lined up. It really feels like it though. I guess we're always compensating. I mean, that's just kind of how games used to be. So this game is kind of like a... You get used to the whole set it and forget it kind of thing, where if you want to move, so no matter what vehicle you're in, you just point where you want to go on the left stick, which is pretty much the same for all these vehicles. And then you shoot with the right stick. Yeah, the difference is, so, like I said before in the chicken walker, and it looks like in the tank too, when you move your right stick, how did that turn me? Let's see. Am I turning? Let's see. I'll line up. That is weird. If I thought I was doing it just now. It does.
It's like you jerk. You have jerk.
Yeah. Or maybe the stick's like slightly tilted. Like if you're not 100% up and the gamepad doesn't have any notches.
My gates.
Oh, I feel like modding my controller so it has tiny little notches. I don't even know how much that would hurt, but it's really important. I don't know why they stopped. I'd like to ask them. Ooh, tank controls. It does not move as swiftly as the... Yeah, it's very jarring when you run into stuff in first person. That's why you have to look up. And you usually run into stuff because you're not looking up in the first place. Oh. I mean, the notches in the controller hardly makes a difference for controlling other video games. That hardly makes a difference. I doubt that's the case. I mean, that's why the Pro Controller may not have it, but man, this gamepad. Maybe they want to make the same sticks for both Pro Controller and gamepad. You can't hover and boost. They call it a laser, it's a missile though. I mean, I guess you charge your laser to produce a missile. Yeah, I thought a lot of these vehicles have very different controls, but it looks like almost all of them have the same controls. The left stick is almost always the same. And the right stick almost always controls your vertical. So, well, boost, slow down, turning. So right stick's always turning, and left stick, let's check the job over here. So this one is now your gyroscope aiming only aims. You can't compensate your aim at all by pointing your ship in the direction, because this isn't a ship, it's a hovercraft. So now, like, all of this, you can do a lot up, down, 180 degrees left and right. Okay. But then forward and back. Forward, still forward. I guess you didn't have back before, you had control the angle of your ship. So now this is left. This left stick is pretty much like a top-down video game, which you can simulate by doing this. On the top screen, this is just your basic up, down, left, right controls. Oh no, there's two screens. And then the right stick is just your rotation. So this is like Resident Evil controls, right? Which people often refer to as tank controls. So if I want to go down, I have to do my vertical. So the direct eyes controls are hold left or right to rotate and forward to go forward. That's kind of different. It's different from the gyro wing. Gyro wings hold forward. And can you still, so you can't control your gyro wing at all when you're doing direct eye, except for vertically. Because vertically is handled all on the right stick. You move him around like this, and if he's too short, like this, you're out of luck. You can always control even in the cutscenes, right? Those blue boxes are really hard to see inside of.
Yeah.
They're like semi-transparent, but they're like no contrast. So you're like, is that black or black on the other side of the wall? Then we raise ourselves to the top screen, because you're never not controlling in Star Fox, apparently. What do you mean inverted? Up? So if you hold ZL, up goes forward, back goes down goes back, left goes left, and right goes right, just like a top-down a video game like Zelda or whatever. So maybe, I mean, you're not controlling the angle of your ship and you're not always flying forward, so I don't think it's inverted, it's just like a different set of controls. This game really could have used some stereoscopic 3D. Like right now I can look down on my gyro wing just by aiming down, that's free. Or if... Suck this guy back up. When you're sucking him back up you can't move, it looks like. So I don't know, a lot of mechanics look like they're stop and pop and compartmentalized anyway. Like you can't, I believe in the other Star Fox you can boost turn, and like just kind of use boost while doing other maneuvers. In this game you can't. In the Chicken Walker you can't. Oh, that was a about face? How did I activate that? That was weird. Or maybe it just turned me around because I was on the edge. Yeah, so yeah, gyrocopter's a hovercraft, so you now have the ability to hover up and down wherever, or to change your Y height. And in the other vehicles, holding down, in the Chicken Walker holding down hovers, and in the tank holding down hovers, and then in the gyro wing holding down makes you go down. So maybe that's what you mean by inverted. And then holding up makes you lift higher. I need to take some of these Chicken Walker missions a little more seriously. But yeah, the accuracy of the pad is pretty good. I think it's about setting up flight patterns when you're in the R-wing and not trying to correct your motion too much. Really understanding how long it takes you to turn, if you can make 2 loops or if you should cut back instead of like dealing with everything one by one, just picking your paths a little better, and then going to the walker if you need to either pursue on ground or not be moving, so you can stand still and do sort of a turret tower kind of effect. So we'll see that here. Yeah, there's they have the co-op mode for people who need more, either want to do co-op or need more help sort of dividing up the tasks, because a lot of the things you can do simultaneously. The 2 main things you can do simultaneously are aiming and moving. On almost any vehicle, they always let you shoot wherever and whenever, so that's kind of cool. And that also gives the co-op just an easy 2 things that both players can constantly do. So right now, like, what do I want to do? I want to lock onto these guys and shoot them in the head. I need to save those. Yeah, they're bombs on the ground. The blue shots travel faster than the green. I didn't know that. And they also like hit through armor a little bit, because I don't think I was hitting their weak spots right there. So now that I don't know where they are, I go into R-wing mode. Dodge that blast. Shoot him. Do a long loop. Look at the top screen. Up, more guys coming. Long range action. Then go over here. Cut back. I'm just keeping my path straight while understanding that my flight pattern dictates so much more. Chicken Walker because I missed him. Oop, there's the Chicken Walker. Chicken walker, anticipate landing. R-wing this way. Yep, I keep double transforming. I need to look at the top screen. Okay, so I'm leaving behind the people. Oop. To get this laser upgrade. I'm gonna do some flybys. Shoot these guys. You turn, you cut left. Chicken walker, X button. Shot him easy. Oh, they're already at the top. Fishing loud. Yeah, the Gigarilla is constantly moving away from you, so landing on him requires you to land on a moving target. Anticipating the distance you travel when becoming a walker is difficult. I wonder if it's based on momentum. No trees. I keep trying to do that. That's the first wave. I keep wasting my resources. Yeah, the blue missiles travel so fast you don't get the good curve. Ooh, another laser upgrade. So I think they lock you onto the one that's closest to destroying your fun. Between chicken walker and hovering in air. Oh no, shoot. Oh, what? What happened? What's weird? My whole view on the bottom screen is went 180 degrees. Fishing. Cold fishing. Man, that's really interesting. The weak spot is always on the top of their body, sometimes on the bottom. And then it all depends on distance, how much the sides of their body and their legs make the target either bigger or smaller relative to where you're firing. Yeah, the X button does a 180. On the ground, when you're a chicken, you can do a 180 turn. But you shouldn't be able to do that in the air. This game gives you really easy control over your vertical aim. The things flying underneath you isn't a problem. Shouldn't be. Not too much of a problem. I'm mostly playing this on the gamepad right now because my stream setup has a slight lag on it. Yeah, that was weird. I didn't mean to do that, whatever that was. God, I did not mean to do that. Oh, that was the whole thing. So I like died 3 times on like the last guy. Interesting. Yeah, the game gives you so much control over the 3D-ness, right? So where you shoot from is a big deal, and it also determines like how much time you have to get the shot you want if you're in the R-wing. So when things are really high in the air, the chicken walker just can't deal with it. So you gotta be R-wing. That means you gotta fly past it or towards it. That means you either gotta line up your shot or you have to hit it while rotating. And when you line up your shot and there's something around the other side of the pillar, it takes too much time to keep lining it up. So you gotta do some combination. There's always some combination. Then you're shooting vertically really easy, and you can move through the environment really fast because you have a good boost in this game and a good brake. When you brake, you're pretty slow, so you could really get the shots that you need when you need them if you have a decent flying line. And then the other issue is the slower you move, the easier you are to hit by all their slow moving fire. That's pretty easy to dodge if you just keep moving. So there's just real easy, really simple to understand risk reward of your positioning, what vehicle you pick, and then how the offense and defense plays out from there. And you can't spin the barrel roll from those little ring shots that the enemies shoot, but I don't know if you can fly through them. I don't know. I don't like ring shots that you can't fly through. But you know, if they want to try to convey like a large incoming projectile, I think the ring is the best shape for it because you can see through it very easily. Except for I want to fly through it, and maybe I'm going to test it. Like maybe there's a way to barely get it, and if there's a way to barely get it, I'll be happy. And the other thing about this game is they don't have a radar, so you know they give you sometimes a little live feed of stuff coming in, but for the most part, yeah, the blues are so fast I can hardly curve them. You have to do these like crazy jerk motions to get the blue to be on top in enough time. So this is one of my favorite things about Kid Icarus too. Like when you're aiming and you have a lock on, you're like, well, I know the lock on's gonna curve towards it, so I can shoot around objects. So let's say like there's this tree in my way, this tree. I'm like, I got a lock on. The tree's gone. But you can shoot it up over the bridge. It only has a certain raise like that. Get him. There we go. So, oh shoot, got hit by a ring. But yeah, you can shoot things over enemies, even over allies sometimes. And like, even though it's hard to see where that would be relevant in this game, you know, sometimes you don't want to hit your allies. They don't put too many things that are just flying hazards in this game because flying, dual analog and flying and shooting is really complicated. So they don't need to like just litter the airspace with hazards. That keeps people nice and sane. Okay, let's get one of these guys to shoot at me. Shoot at me. See how you can barely get these guys from the top? I don't know why I keep moving. Stop. Stupid analog sticks. I guess a chicken can't move very well without turning. I'm trying to strafe, and the chicken doesn't have strafe. It has this little. So now my shots are changing. And I can hit them all. With the chicken. Okay, let's see if I can fly through that ring now. Let's see if I can fly through. Nope, can't fly through that one. Oh, that's too sharp of an angle. Ooh, and his legs blocked it. That's really cool. Flying up and then braking to shoot down. I want to see if any of these guys shoot at me. Am I in bird mode? No. Should look out there. So right there, the one closest to destroying the tower has just changed my top screen view. So then I can, which is pretty cool, a context-sensitive lock-on, like a threat. I can just go bird mode right here, keep the lock-on on him, because it lined me up, and then shoot off my bomb, right? Let's see, get some good angles on these guys. The fastest way to get a better angle. Fly and transform. Oh shoot. And fly and get a better angle. That guy's pretty much a joke. Yeah, you got there. That was pretty close even when I wasn't trying to. Yeah, if you release the lock-on button a split second after the lock hits a target, the blue shot, I guess, gives you more hits. I don't know if it does more damage, but it gives you more hits and it flies faster. So with enemies that are, you know, like Star Wolf, where they're flying at sharp angles as you come in, if you use the blue lock-on and really anticipate when that lock-on's going to hit, the blue lock-on will hit them much easier. So, like, there's definitely a really cool new timing aspect to fighting fast enemies in this game. Because previously, enemies just couldn't move that fast, and you really didn't have a lot of space to move in. And by previously, I mean Star Fox 64, because those other games don't exist. It'll be really July. Okay. So yeah, just investigating different things about Mario, or not Mario, Star Fox. Everything's not Mario, except for this guy. Yeah, the controls take some getting used to, but part of the reason why is because games usually don't give you full control of these two really dynamic sort of gameplay styles, right? On-rail games can do a lot by making sure that you see exactly what they want. You have your light gun, so you can fire anywhere where you can see. You know, your bullets travel out from your gun, so if there's something in between you and where you're shooting, you know that's going to get blocked, or you might hit a civilian or whatever. But they can do a lot of things with camera angles and surprising enemy patterns, and the way they jump on the screen, how close you are to the screen, and what you can shoot, where their weak points are, all those different things, right? And when you shoot them, when they flinch, they cover up their weak spots, or they just make the targets generally harder to hit. That's what a lot of light gun games do. A lot of on-rail games do similar things, like just kind of putting you through a roller coaster of things, right? Lots of stuff flying in, but they can very finely tunedly design whether or not the obstacles are cheap or whether they give you holes and ways to get out of it. Are centered, so that's where all the action's going to happen. Concentrates things, but being able to fly through something, fly around it, and not having to line up your shots. Like, even if you think back to classic Control of where you fly in a large 3D space, right? So there's stuff on the ground, stuff near the ground, bullets flying through the air, lasers, enemies coming in from the sky, like enemies high in the sky, and obstacles, like so many things. And whether you're fighting on Corneria, where there's a lot of buildings, or deep space, where there's not a lot, your targets and it's where the missions are centered, so that's where all the action's going to happen. Concentrates things, but being able to fly through something, fly around it, and not having to line up your shots. Like, even if you think back to classic Shmups, and how much you have to pretty much line up your shots with your ship, and then they give you a lot of power-ups, and you can aim less and less. But the basic idea is you're pretty much lining things up with your ship, which is cool because, in a sense, that creates its own risk reward. If you want to hit the enemy that's coming straight at you, you gotta line up straight against it and then fire before it gets you, which is very much like Space Invaders. But then otherwise, I don't know if there's any or very many dual analog shmups, vertical rail shooters, vertical shmups, where they they give you dual analog, but they also put you through a very scripted environment. There is Pixel Junk Shooter, which is pretty cool. It has levels, but it's more like you explore it at your own pace, kind of like Metroid. And then there's Geometry Wars, which is dual stick, but then they put you in small arenas. And then there's things like Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, which is more Metroidvania styled, and all these different combinations. But all the time, you know, those games are 2D. There's just really not a lot of 3D games that give you flight controls, and there's really not a lot of 3D games that don't give you lock-on. And what's really interesting about Star Fox is you have a lock-on for camera, but that's like for visual information, for telling you where enemies are and points of high interest, and then it's they don't really change your aim at all. Like, you still have to fly. It doesn't change your controls. The lock-on camera, it just shows you stuff, so that's really interesting. You still have to fly yourself and then shoot wherever you can by yourself. And then you have a lock-on shot, which it's only based on where you're aiming, and your aiming is freer than ever. But then you still have your ship to worry about, and then if you shoot a lock-on shot, depending on the angle of your ship to the target, can break the ability for your lock-on to hit. So, like, that's also another thing. That's pretty cool. I'm going to test real quick if you can lock on and shoot a smart bomb. So yeah, I mean, even if you look at the controls in Skyward Sword, you know, they gave you a really easy to remember flapping motion control so that you can raise and lower your loft wing, not water wing. But then beyond that, oh yeah, so the bombs do lock on to the position and you shoot it. That's interesting. Let's see how hard it locks. Okay. I don't even know if I can get my lock at that point. Let's go into R1 mode. I need to look up at the screen for crying out loud. So let's say these guys are coming in. Yeah, do swoopy loop. Okay. Power turn. So we get a lock. Shoot it that way. Comes in from the side, which is kind of interesting. I bet the lock on is about 180 degrees. It's pretty much like you're aiming. And if you can get the lock, like let's say, where's the enemy I need to hit? Okay, so like say the enemy's right here that I need to hit. So if I get a lock on the side of this building and I back up and kind of shoot the smart bomb over there, I can almost curve around the building if I got my if I have everything lined up properly, which is really cool. That means you can actually oh, that's really cool. I'm gonna restart this. That means you could probably lock on to really fast moving enemies or enemies that are about to get into a cluster of other enemies, and then change your aim like this. Like you lock onto this guy and you like dodge something. My lock on's changing as I move. So like, oh, when you spin you lose your lock, or is it because you went behind the building? So whenever your lock on is occluded by another 3D object like this, it breaks, right? That's just like Section 8 with the cool lock-on ability. Anything that breaks your sort of straight line path between you and the target breaks a lock-on. Even small objects, which is pretty cool when you learn how to jump in between random sticks in the geometry. Then you do this, and I can aim up and fire. Nope. This. So now this guy going up the tower, let's say I have him locked on and I shoot it over here. Because you can't break your I wonder if these one of the green balls have a bigger explosion radius for hitting their weak points. So if they're at that sharp of an angle, you might as well shoot the charge shot. So and the camera lock on is indicated by the yellow, but then your lock on is indicated by the circle. And then when you have them both, it shows you when you lose it, when you lose the circle. As long as the circle's still on it, the shot will home. That's all there is to it. And I think it's just like I said, it's kind of attached to your viewpoint. As soon as they're too much off the viewpoint, yeah, you can still hit them even though. I wonder if there's a sound effect for it to delocks. I don't think so. Oh, thanks. No sound effect for delock, but definitely a sound effect for a lock. Yeah, and that flick that you do for the blue lock. So right there, he's locked. Let's see if I can get that sharp angle on him. Oh wow! So he was almost like 100. He was almost 180 degrees turned from me, which means I couldn't hit his weak point at all. But I used the almost max turning radius of my homing shot and just shot around to get the shot I want, which would really help fighting some of those bosses now that I think about it. I was like, how do I get this shot? Just like line it up. Lasers, that's so cool. And then with the blue that can go faster, but it has a sharper, no, that's really cool. So what, like, I'll show you guys on the screen here. Boop. I'll do the Kid Icarus. Uprise. Right here. So one of the things I really like about Kid Icarus is that they give you new ways to aim and like a better aiming controls than ever. Right? You can argue all you want about keyboard and mouse, but you know, you have a lot of fine motor skills invested in your ability to handwrite, you know, assuming you're above the age of 2025 because kids these days type and they can't do anything. You have a lot of control when you're playing Kid Icarus over your player view. So much control, in fact, that you can both see and trace fast-moving arced projectiles and clash them with your own bullets coming in, which gives you new things to aim for. Like so much of first-person shooters and a lot of action games for a while was just like aim at the head, of course, aim at the head. It didn't start that way because we didn't have the hitbox differentiation with limbs, but it quickly grew to be like that, and we're like everything's always aimed at the head. That's why I really liked the enemy design of Kid Icarus, because it was more classic style, which is like just make enemy types based on your design space and make your design space about more than just bullet damage and the classic like shotgun, sniper, pistol, submachine gun, rifle kind of thing. Like do some other stuff, heavy damage, like weight, knockback, stun, topple, like things like that. So Kid Icarus has a lot of interesting melee centric fighting game style design elements, and when you see incoming shots, there's something to engage with the bullet to bullet interplay. So you can shoot them out of the air, and that means they can make bullets that do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like the backwards charge shot of the samurai blade, it's just 2 X's, right, like this, that like shoot up and go over. And I bet you I have a video of it. I'm gonna click YouTube. Alright, so we'll look at the, yeah, right here. We'll just look at this because...
What's up, everybody? This is the Crazy Kirby Kid, and I'm bringing you a video example of what I've been talking about in part 2 of my Kid Icarus review. So we're going to get right to it and talk about dodging. And like I said in the review, if you dash right before an incoming projectile hits you, you'll have your invincibility and dodge right through. And as you can see right there, if you time the shoot button just right after you dodge through, you can do a counterattack. If you
So this stuff's really cool. Just different ways that bullets move, different ways that you can see them coming, different ways that you can move. It creates all these obstacle courses that you can navigate through with the feel of a fighting game or a platformer. But then it's also got all these shooting mechanics. Like, you know, you dash like Smash Brothers, but then you can walk and shoot like a shooter. And then you can clash even these rapid fire bullets in midair as you shoot at each other, which is really cool. I'm gonna see if I can shoot some of these crazy bullets. Some are slow moving with higher stamina, some are rapid firing but they home less. Like, there's got all these different parameters to make each bullet unique. There's like 114 or so weapons in the entire game where they do different stuff. Like these eye trackers move slowly, but they have some of the sharpest homing in the game, so you can shoot them just like I was doing in Star Fox, way up over obstacles or way up over their bullets, and they come crashing down. And so many different things about the way bullets work in this game, and kind of getting a feel for that also gives you a feel for the 3D space, because when objects, you know, travel towards each other and collide or impact, it stresses a lot of that 3D space in a new way. So there's new ways to aim, new things to aim at, new ways to move, new things to shoot. And Star Fox Zero is doing a very similar thing with its controls, right? They just give you more control, and then sometimes it feels like it looks like the game's like really simple. You just fly at stuff and shoot it. But never underestimate how dynamic space is, especially 3D space, and never forget how much other 3D games have really simplified 3D space. Like I could type in 3D maybe in the keywords, all the stuff I wrote about 3Dness. Talked about Kid Icarus Uprising. You can see here talking about how much 3D impacts that game. What did I say about Super Gravitron? It's 3D. Nothing. Oh, 3D stereoscopic effect of the background. Oh, I talked about 3D definitely in push mode. One of the interesting, like, such a 3D game uses 3D space really well, but it's not about making, it's not just about putting things in a world that looks 3D or making players move through 3D space really quickly, or using lock-on to sort of collapse that 3D space into 2D space, or using hit scan weapons and all these kinds of shortcuts and things that make it easier. Not that they completely eliminate the dynamics of 3D, but they do change it. It's just, you obviously know that there's can be more and more with games push away from those things into just full 3D control what happens. And
I wrote an article. I'm gonna type in the word control. I wrote an article called 3D Control of 3D. Let's see if it pops up. 3D Control 3D. It's like the search engine works or something. But this was a really interesting article I wrote, and I think I also linked it to when I did a study on controller design and how different devices lend themselves to different kinds of mechanics. But 3D Control of 3D is this really interesting concept where like 3D is so intensely engaging and dynamic that one of the best ways you can give the player control of a 3D game or a 3D mechanic is to give them a 3D controller. So one of the examples, where is it? First person perspective, back camera report representation of 3D, depth perception, of course. Like in games are 2D. Analog stick is technically 2D. So you move it around, you rotate it, but it's still 2D. You like 2 axes. And considering other kinds of things you can do when your control is 3D. I don't even know if there's many games that even do that, but the Wii and definitely the Wii U would be very prime candidates. Now if players can swing their controllers, chop them, box, block, steer, and even dance. Using the forms and actions of the game's players, Wiimote becomes a perfect controller for controlling 3D space. Just like how the touchscreen is a perfect input device for creating a direct, intuitive, dynamic, independent link between the player and the forms of the game, the Wiimote does the same, but in full 3D. Or at least it can. Yeah, so with Star Fox, it's a little different. You're controlling a vehicle, and it's harkening back to vehicle controls of old. So like, you know, pitch and yaw and having a flight stick. So that's why, you know, the left stick is inverted for the plane, because you're really controlling it like a plane, and you can always invert it per your preference, but that's kind of where the design is going. Likewise, you can do, I think Wii Sports Resort has a plane flying mode, and you fly the plane by holding the Wiimote. Do I have a Wiimote handy? You got one? Is that a Wiimote? No, that's a nunchuck. But you hold the Wiimote horizontally like this, and then you fly the plane by twisting it in your hand, and then like pushing forward and tilting it up, and then swooping down. It's kind of like you're controlling an action figure, or you might have seen a kid control an action figure, something like that. So that's a really intuitive way of giving the player a full 3D controlling device without making it any more complicated than what they're probably used to in real life. So that's pretty cool. I just thought about expanding on that idea a lot. I've designed a lot of games in my head and on paper that try to solve some of these issues, and it looks like Star Fox is doing a lot of the cool things that I was working on, like how to do curved arrows in a 3D Kid Icarus style game. And essentially it's already here in Star Fox. You have a lock-on system, and then when you fire, you move your aim off that lock-on to change the arcing radius of the shot as it follows. And you can do a lot with that, but that's really cool. Who doesn't like curving arrows? But cool, I think that'll conclude our broadcast for today. Just if you have any questions about Kid Icarus controls, we're going to take a look at the what people have to say about Star Fox and other shoot 'em ups later today. And there's plenty of other games to look at, so if you've got a favorite shoot 'em up, let us know, and we will see you later in the week and later tonight. So peace out, everybody.